Welcome back, General Hospital fans! Get ready for another explosive ride through Port Charles where shocking secrets, dangerous betrayals, and life-changing twists are about to shake everyone's world. The drama is hotter than ever, so buckle up and let's dive into today's biggest GH bombshells. The way the writers keep layering danger and deception in Port Charles never fails to pull me right back in, even after all these decades. What happened with Sidwell and Ezra Boyle feels like one of those classic setups that reminds me why I fell in love with this show in the first place. Ordinary people caught in extraordinary traps, forced to make impossible choices that ripple through the entire community. That warning Sidwell issued did not stay idle for long. It turned into cold reality faster than I expected. Sidwell proved himself a master manipulator by copying Jacinda's phone and pretending to be her, drawing Ezra straight into a carefully staged hotel room that looked every bit like a romantic rendezvous. I could picture Ezra walking in with that hopeful expression on his face, maybe even straightening his tie, only to have the door close behind him and realize the terrible truth. Sidwell was waiting, calm and ruthless, making it clear he had no intention of abandoning his larger scheme. He laid it all out. Support me or suffer the consequences. The tension in that moment must have been suffocating. As someone who has watched countless confrontations in Port Charles, I felt my heart race right along with what Ezra must have experienced. It is the kind of scene that stays with you long after the credits roll. What strikes me most is how Sidwell is using Ezra as a key piece in these new adjustments happening around town. Ezra has always struck me as a man trying to walk a careful line, but now he finds himself squeezed between loyalty and survival. I have my own theory here, and I think it holds water based on everything we have seen. Sidwell is not just threatening Ezra for personal revenge. He is leveraging him to reshape certain alliances and power structures that have grown shaky lately. This feels different from the old mob-style wars we used to see. It is more calculated, almost surgical, and that makes it even more chilling. Ezra's obsession with staying in control is now working against him, and I wonder if this pressure will finally crack that polished exterior he has maintained for so long. In my view, characters like Ezra often surprise us when backed into corners. They either rise to become unlikely heroes, or they tumble in ways that change the whole canvas of the show. Of course, the absence of Laura from Port Charles right now adds another heavy layer to all of this. Her steady presence has always been the moral anchor for so many storylines, and without her there to mediate or offer that calm wisdom, things feel looser and more unpredictable. I keep asking myself whether her departure was timed deliberately by the writers to let these darker plots breathe. The answer seems obvious when you look at how quickly Sidwell moved once she stepped away. It proves these new adjustments are real and they are accelerating. Laura's influence has always tempered the worst impulses in town, and now we are seeing what happens when that balance tips. I miss her already, but I also appreciate how her absence heightens the stakes for everyone else. Will she return in time to prevent disaster? I suspect she will, but not before several characters learn hard lessons in her absence. Then there is Sunny, who seems to be staring down yet another set of fresh troubles. Every time I think Sunny has finally found some peace, new threats emerge from the shadows. Sidwell's maneuvering with Ezra feels connected to the pressures closing in on Sunny, even if the direct links are still unfolding. Sunny has survived more than most men could bear, and I have always admired his fierce protectiveness over family and friends. Yet this time it feels personal in a different way, almost like the past is being weaponized against him through these new players. I have a strong opinion on this. Sunny's strength has always been his loyalty, but loyalty can become a vulnerability when enemies learn how to exploit it. Sidwell clearly understands that. By pulling Ezra into his orbit, he is indirectly tightening the net around Sunny's world. It is masterful storytelling, and I find myself torn between rooting for Sunny's usual resilience and worrying that these new adjustments might force him into choices that cost him dearly. One of the things I love most about being a longtime viewer is noticing how the show echoes real life in its exploration of power and consequence. Sidwell's trap for Ezra is not just about one man's ambition. It reveals how quickly trust can be shattered. Jacinda's phone being cloned is a modern touch that feels timely and frighteningly plausible. I keep thinking about how many of us older viewers have had to learn about digital dangers ourselves. The writers did a fine job making that element feel authentic, without overwhelming the emotional core of the scene. Ezra's face, when he realized the deception must have been something to see. I imagine a mix of anger, fear, and reluctant admiration for how thoroughly Sidwell planned it. Those are the moments that keep me coming back, because they mirror the complexities we face in our own relationships and decisions. I have to say, though, that I disagree with some online chatter claiming this storyline is too dark. In my experience, General Hospital has always balanced suspense with hope. Yes, Sidwell is playing a dangerous game, but I believe redemption arcs are being set up even now. Ezra might surprise us by finding a way to turn the tables without losing his soul. Sonny has a way of emerging stronger after every storm. And when Laura eventually returns, she will likely bring the clarity that Port Charles desperately needs. These new adjustments are unsettling, but they also create space for growth and unexpected alliances. That is the beauty of this show. It never lets us get too comfortable, yet it always leaves room for healing. What will Ezra choose when the pressure becomes unbearable? I think he will resist at first, buying time while he searches for an escape route, but Sidwell's leverage is formidable. The question answers itself when you remember how interconnected everyone is in Port Charles. One wrong move by Ezra could drag Sonny deeper into conflict, and that possibility has me counting down the hours until the next episode. The writers are building this slow burn so effectively that I can feel the heat rising. Will Jacinda discover how her identity was stolen and step in to help? Or will she become another pawn in Sidwell's larger plan? Either way, the personal cost for Ezra feels enormous, and I am invested in seeing how he navigates it. Looking back over the years, I have seen Port Charles survive mob wars, natural disasters, and countless personal betrayals. This current chapter with Sidwell feels like a fresh evolution of those themes. It is less about brute force and more about psychological pressure and strategic positioning. Ezra being forced to confront his own ambitions under duress is compelling television. I find myself reflecting on how age brings perspective. At my stage in life, I appreciate stories that show even strong men can be vulnerable and still find a path forward. Sonny's troubles remind me that no one is truly untouchable, yet his determination continues to inspire. I truly believe the upcoming episodes are going to deliver some of the most intense moments we have seen in a while. The trap has been sprung, choices are being demanded, and the absence of certain key figures like Laura only amplifies the urgency. As a devoted fan, I cannot wait to see how these threads weave together. Will Ezra's decision protect the people he cares about, or will it create new fractures that take months to mend? The beauty of General Hospital is that both outcomes feel possible, and both would lead to rich storytelling. I plan to keep watching with the same enthusiasm I had decades ago, because stories like this one remind me why community, loyalty, and resilience matter so much, both on screen and in our own lives. Ezra's obsession with control and Jacinda's complicated entanglements are proving to be the perfect levers for Sidwell. By drawing Ezra deeper into his web, Sidwell gains influence over decisions that could ripple straight toward Laura's return and Sonny's fragile peace. I believe this is intentional on the writer's part, a smart evolution from older storylines where threats were more direct. Here, it is psychological and interconnected. Ezra may think he can contain the damage, but I suspect his choices under pressure will inadvertently open doors for Sidwell to move against Laura. As for Sonny, the new troubles feel personal, like old wounds being reopened through these manipulations. I have always admired Sonny's resilience, yet even he must sense the net tightening. In my view, this differs from past conflicts because it blends modern scheming with deep emotional vulnerabilities, making every scene heavier with consequence. What worries me most is how this web is now pulling Michael and Willow into fresh danger. They have fought so hard for their family's stability, and seeing them drawn into Sidwell's orbit breaks my heart. Michael's protective nature and Willow's caring spirit make them natural targets once Sidwell exploits Ezra's position. I keep asking myself if they will recognize the threat in time. The answer, based on how tightly the story is woven, seems to be that they will sense something wrong, but perhaps too late to avoid initial harm. This creates that wonderful tension we longtime fans crave. Sidwell appears ready to manufacture new troubles, possibly even new tragedies or deaths that could shake the foundation of Port Charles. I shudder at the thought, yet I trust the show will handle it with the care it always does, balancing sorrow with eventual hope. These developments feel different from the original paths the characters once followed, where Laura once mediated crises with wisdom and Sunny relied on street-smart strength. Now the threats come through proxies like Ezra and Jacinda. Sidwell's obsessions are fueling a larger plan that could claim lives if left unchecked. I hold the personal opinion that this escalation serves a greater purpose, forcing characters to evolve. Michael and Willow may emerge stronger, their bond tested and refined. Sunny might find new allies in unexpected places. Even Laura's absence allows these dangers to build, setting up a powerful return where she confronts the chaos head-on. The beauty of General Hospital lies in how it makes us feel every emotion alongside the residents of Port Charles. I find myself wondering whether Jacinda will realize her role in Sidwell's schemes and try to break free, perhaps aiding Ezra in a moment of clarity. That possibility excites me because it adds layers of redemption to the darkness. Sidwell may believe he controls the narrative, but I have watched enough episodes to know that Port Charles has a way of fighting back. New deaths or severe troubles would be devastating, yet they often pave the way for powerful reunions and justice.